Good morning, everyone. My name is Blake Hagler, and we are going to go over the social media security features, what to do when working with social media. Give me just a second just to make sure that I have everything set up here. Okay, thank you everyone for joining in, and I appreciate y'all jumping in here to learn about this. So cybersecurity has become a huge threat, and we do have a guest speaker today, PPwix Website Services, Karen GLOE, I believe. I hope I said her name correct. She's going to get me if I didn't. But what they do is they focus on websites, social media for businesses. So they are in the trenches with this stuff every day. We reached out to them to ask if they would join our channel today to let everybody know what risks are out there, what to avoid, what to look out for, what social media platforms have, what threats. They're in it every day. So they're going to know exactly what has to happen and what needs to happen. Karen, are you currently with us right now?
I am.
Wonderful. So, Karen, do you want to? I hope I said your name right. If I didn't,
you did. You did.
Wonderful. Would you like to go into your business a little bit? Tell us a little bit about your business, and also what we can do to stay protected while we're on these social media platforms.
Sure. A little bit about my background. I've been in the website development, actually the coding development side of things for about 27 years. And what we are seeing now as far as social media infiltration of scammers actually existed since the day of the internet. So we just see it a little bit more predominantly now because we are in such a connected world with technology. So it's just a little more prevalent now than it used to be. We didn't used to hear as much of it, but it did exist back then as well. My business, PPwix Website Services, as you stated, we handle website design, development, social media marketing, technical SEO, and credit card processing for many different types of businesses, small, medium, and large. I have people send me almost on a daily basis emails to make sure that they are not scams that they are receiving. I get them from banks. I get them from big shopping centers. I get them from Amazon, from Walmart, people sending these to me to make sure that they are legit before they go ahead and click on any links in the emails. I also have businesses that have had me actually spoof their employees to make sure that their employees are not opening malicious links. And when they do click on those links, I have a report for the business owner showing them, that their employees maybe are not educated as well in that type of fraud. So I do have a lot of experience in this. I work with a lot of social media scams, and I work with police departments and giving presentations and forums regarding this type of these type of scams to protect the elderly. So today, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the different types of social media scams. We are going to go in a little bit to the personal scams because those personal scams actually can affect your business. That's how they get to you in the first place, is by reaching out to you on a personal level. Once they find out you're a business owner, oh boy, then they think they have a larger target and can probably get a lot more money, especially if you have, maybe you think you're still small business, but to them, you have enough clientele to scam, and that's what they go after. So we're going to go into that a little bit. So first off, there used to be this thing out there called chain letters. People used to get them in the mail. Send $1 to 10 people and you'll get this, this, and this. Well, now it's a different type of scam. It's seen on Facebook readily. And what it is it's an image forward from a person's account. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get you to share it with everybody. And it could be one of those that says, send this to 10 people or God's going to smite you today, or send this to 10 people and God's going to bless you today. So it could be one of those bad luck type of images that they send out. It can also be as simple as, I got one last night in my own social media account that one of my friends had sent me, and it was an image. It wasn't text. So something you need to remember, these chain letters, if it's not text, it's not from your friend. And even if it is, it might not be from your friend. So an image, this image said, your account has been compromised. I received a message from you. You better let your entire friends list know. Please click on the middle of this and forward it to everyone so they can be aware. So that's the chain letter scam. What they're doing is they're collecting friends because they can see who you've shared it to. So then they go and target your friends list to add them to their friends list so that they can later scam them with money scams. The other one is cash grabs. These are people that have an attractive profile. They probably haven't had their profile up very long, and they friend you because you don't have your friends list locked down. So they friend you, and then they gain your trust by communicating back and forth with you for a while, and then all of a sudden, bam, they'll ask for money. And usually it's some kind of tragic event, like my grandmother has cancer, or, I got stuck in Puerto Rico and now I can't get back to the United States. Please send me money. Usually they always want gift cards. They want you to send them gift cards like iTunes or Amazon or things like this that can't be traceable. And they want to connect, they want you to connect directly by phone or email. So they'll reach out to you that way. The next one is hidden charges. So a lot of us love those social media quizzes that we find online. They are not a good thing. So you should probably stay off of those. It's a good idea to stay off those. They can be fun. And what I'm talking about is the type of social media quiz where they say, what type of Star Wars character are you? Or something like that. And then you put in information, or you have them look at your profile, and you get this little thing back saying, oh, you're Princess Leia because blah, 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 blah. Those are very dangerous. A lot of them now are asking for phone numbers. And what happens is when you put in your phone number, you get your answer, but the next month on your cell phone bill, you're going to get a $9.95 charge, and it's a monthly charge from that company that had the quiz up. And by you putting in your phone number, you authorize that charge. And you're probably not going to notice it until you sit and wonder, geez, why did my phone bill go up? And you actually analyze your statement. So it's hidden charges. That's another type of social media scam. And that one's available on all of them. And that one's going through Twitter, and they even have their own websites that you can get trapped on. So they're not good. Hidden URLs. This is mainly with email, but it's also on social media. So you'll see shortened URLs a lot of times. And what those look like is it'll have the regular like HTTP with the colon that you see. But then after it, it's going to have a lot of letters and numbers. It's not necessarily a HaglerSystems.com type of domain name. Those can be very dangerous to click on, and we're going to find out more about why when we talk about the business social phishing, which is coming up next. So hidden URLs, anytime you get an email, I always tell my clients, do not ever click on a link in an email, even if it's coming from your bank, if it's coming from Amazon, something you ordered, always go to that website. You know the website's address, type it into your browser directly. Do not click on the links in your emails. So many scammers are so good at utilizing and creating web designs that look exactly like your bank, like Amazon. They can spoof them to a T. So that brings us into the business social phishing. What this means, and I'm going to read an actual definition to you so that it's very clear. So this is when a scammer pretends to be your business. So phishing is a criminal activity in which scammers target internet users and your customers by imitating your legitimate company or brand. These attacks lure prospects and customers to provide sensitive data that can lead to the theft of their identity. Phishers might use a company's logo, a similar URL, or other markers if it's identity to convince people they're the real company. So I can give you an example. Someone did a test out there and it was quite interesting. This was a couple years back. I remember seeing this test. They actually spoofed Equifax. And what they did was they created a social Twitter account to prove how easy it was to look like an actual business. They used Equifax's logo. They had the @ symbol that is kind of your business marker there as well, that would show, like, maybe it was fraud Equifax is what it would be. It would be something just slightly off, or a Equifax, or something just a little bit off from Equifax's actual handle on the social media. So everything would look legit, but when they would post, they would put those short URLs in there that went to a phishing site that asked you for all of your login information, for all of your personal information, name, address, even social security number. So it's very hard to determine, you know, what businesses are. So with that being said, and all this fraud out there, there are ways to protect your brand. Because it is a scary thing, and it starts off with just a very innocent reach out from a personal social media account to another personal social media account. And once they find out you have a business, they can replicate your entire business overnight. And sometimes even within just a few hours. They'll grab your logo, they'll grab whatever else necessary to reach out to your customers. They will even send customer emails out to your client list if they get that far. Telling them that their invoice is not paid and they need to click on a link to pay their invoice. So lots of dollars have been misappropriated from companies that way. So to protect your brand, the first thing you should do, all your social media accounts, you need to utilize two-step authentication. Most of them have it now. Very good idea. Google accounts have it, Facebook has it, Twitter has it. So always use a two-step authentication. You can find those in your settings. And if you don't know quite where to go, there are some wonderful tutorials online that you can access, YouTube videos, step-by-step documents that you can use to be able to set up two-step authentication on social media accounts. The other is general social media policy for your employees. Any employees that have access to any social media or are representing your business, even if they just have you listed as an employee on their social media accounts, you really need to have a policy in place on how to handle employees that leave and what needs to be done there or what is required. These employees need to sign this general social media policy. So you can put anything in that policy that you want, but as far as representing the company, the policy should include what needs to take place if the company is compromised or another social media account is spoofed out there. So all the employees need to change their passwords. And probably on a regular basis, it's a good idea to do that anyway. There are other examples out there of these general social media policies that you can kind of follow. So if you do a search online, that's easily accessible for business owners as well. You can protect your website, which you should do anyway. Even if you don't do credit card processing or shopping on your website, you should have an SSL, which is a secure socket layer. That one's kind of a tongue twister, which is SSL. That means that you get the little lock up in the top left-hand corner next to your domain name saying that your site is safe and secure from anybody's peeping eyes that are trying to grab your client's information. Google came out with a really cool thing, and you should probably grab a pen because this one's pretty important. Google came out with Google Alert, and what this is you can type in your business's name or term, or you can put in your social media handles, and Google will actually watch for any time that your business is mentioned. So if somebody is trying to spoof your business out there on the internet, it's going to send you an alert, and you can check those alerts, and you can set it up so that it will check it once a day, once a month. It'll send you a report, however you want to do it. Once a week is generally good, so that you can check and make sure that you guys are the only ones that are putting anything out there on social media and that your business is protected. And you can even do that with your own name as well. So if you want to protect your name and make sure somebody isn't out there spoofing you, then you can do that. But if your name is John Smith, you might get an awful lot of notifications. So you're going to want to be kind of, you know, if you have a very common name, it probably isn't going to benefit you as much as it would a business. So the steps to do that, you can go to google.com/alerts, and you can type in your business name in the search box. It will actually show you a list of places it can be found online down below it. And then it's going to ask you how often you want it to check. So you can say once a week. If you want to do it once a day, that's fine. If you have a higher traffic business and you have a really great web presence, you might want to do once a day and just have somebody in your office in charge of making sure that you guys are the only ones that are posting on social media regarding your business. Sources, you can have it check news, blogs, web, doesn't matter, or you can put it on automatic and it will check all of them. So if you just want to make sure that you blogs and Facebook, Twitter, those social media accounts are considered blogs. If you want to make sure that your business isn't being misrepresented there, you can choose that source. You can also choose the language, which of course would be English for us. Region, United States, you can choose world. You can choose other places in the world if you want to check. And how many results do you want? Generally, you're going to want all the results. That's even going to include your own postings, but you're going to want all the results so that you can double check them. And where to deliver it to. And you can have them deliver it, you can keep it just in your Google account, or you can have them deliver it to an email address. It is wise to deliver the information to an email address so that that can be checked on. Now, if your business does find that it has encountered some fraudulent activity, that is a federal crime, and it can be reported to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. And that website address is I as in igloo, C as in cat, the number 3.gov. It's very easy. It's just ic3.gov. And that will go ahead and you can file a complaint, and then the federal government does actually follow up on these crimes, especially if they are located in the United States and they have anything to do with business. So, you know, if you have further questions, which we're going to open up here in a few minutes, from what I understand, is that correct, Blake?
That is correct. We always open up the end for Q&A.
So if you have any questions outside what we answer here this morning, you certainly can go ahead and contact myself. My information is on my phone number is 605-954-4059. That's my direct office number if you have any questions about fraud or anything that you receive.
Okay. Karen, do you mind if I put that in the chat for everyone?
Sure, go ahead. Yep.
All right, will you repeat that?
Yes, it's 605-954-4059. And my Concord, North Carolina location, Beverly Mangrum is our expert there. And her number, direct number, is 704-247-6351. And we'd be happy to answer any questions that you have or take a look at anything that you may think is fraudulent or you would like more information about.
Thank you, Karen. I really appreciate that. I'm typing Beverly's information in right now, so anybody that would like to get a hold of her in Concord, North Carolina, they can do so. We actually spoke with Beverly past week, so I really appreciate Beverly taking the time to meet with us, and I also appreciate you taking the time to meet with us. One of the things I wanted to connect with, you said something about two-step authentication, also known as two-factor authentication.
Yes. We've
been really pushing this for a long time with businesses and personal accounts, because even personal accounts aren't they're not protected from this, correct? I mean, personal accounts are the same as the business accounts. Am I right, or are they different?
That is correct. In order to have a business account, you have to have a personal account first. And these scammers start with your personal account because it's easier to get in. But what they're looking for is the big fish. So when they get to your personal account, they're looking for any way that they can maximize their scam. And if you have a business, they're going to take advantage of it. So it's something that you definitely need to lock down your personal accounts first, and not just for the business owner. Any employees that are maybe on there as admins or managers, they need to lock down their personal accounts as well with two-factor authentication, or they should not be allowed to administrate any social media of the businesses.
So that should be part of that, the policies of utilizing social media within those companies, you think?
Absolutely, because what happens is when your social media account is compromised, and let's say they get one of the phishing requests, which is that one that was sent around quite a bit through Facebook. Hey, is this really you? And it's a video. Well, it takes them to a website where they have to put in their information, and it looks exactly like Facebook's login. So unwittingly, you think you need to log in again to view this video of you that they supposedly have. Once you put your contact information in there and your password, your Facebook account is compromised. They are in there. They're grabbing your friends list. They're grabbing any personal information, and they can even utilize your credit card until you catch them. So not only that though, once they get that information, a lot of people use the same passwords for everything. So bank accounts, emails, anything online that you have is now compromised, and you're going to have to change everything. So yes, a business's social media policy needs to make sure that their employees, first of all, have a password that is not the same as their other accounts. Second of all, that they have two-factor authentication set up, and they probably should show the employer that in fact is set up correctly. Or the employer needs to have like an orientation for new employees where they can set it up in a class together, get their two-factor authentic, if they are going to be allowed to promote the business on social media.
Karen, we did have a question come through. Do you see hackers trying to get into other social sites besides Facebook?
Oh yeah, all of them. Twitter, Pinterest. It's really funny because you wouldn't think Pinterest, because you know people go there for craft ideas. You wouldn't think Pinterest would be one of those areas that a hacker would infiltrate very much. But you are still allowed to send messages to other people on Pinterest, and it's through those messages that they kind of weasel their way in and get information from you, or ask you for money. And they start off by saying, hey, have you done this craft before? Or have you done this one before? And they'll put a link in there. And once they put that link in there and the person goes to view it, well, all of a sudden now I have to log into Pinterest again. Why? Well, because they're getting your password. Now they're going to go into your Pinterest account and they're going to see everybody you're associated with. So yes, the social media scams are in every single form of social media out there. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the big sharing platforms like Facebook and Twitter. It can be platforms like Yelp where you're giving reviews. So you have to be careful about what you click on anymore these days. You need to make sure that those links are legitimate. One way to really find out, even those shortened URLs, those hidden URLs, if you hover over them, most of the time you can actually see the real domain name that it's going to. So for instance, like if I shortened URL to XYZ1 and I put it into a Facebook post, or I sent it in an email, you should be able to hover over it and see the real domain name. If you can't, some platforms don't allow it or don't utilize that because they'll put like Facebook and then they'll have a string after it and don't show the actual domain. But most of the time you can see the real domain. If it doesn't go where it should, don't click on it. Or if you're not sure, go visit the profile page, because there's going to be something in there that's not real about what's being posted.
Karen, thank you. We did have one other question. They asked about Alignable. I'm assuming you said every platform. Alignable is no different, or all social media platforms?
So Alignable hasn't been affected as much as LinkedIn has, and LinkedIn is not badly affected. LinkedIn is pretty good about making sure that people are not putting up fake profiles or scam types of profiles, and they're very good about eliminating those profiles. Now, I don't know what makes their process different from Facebook and why Facebook can't eliminate more of those profiles, but Alignable is so new, and I have not found or been approached by anyone that's been compromised in Alignable. So as far as I'm concerned, Alignable probably is one of the safest business platforms to get your information out there and to be able to promote your business as of right now. And I'm certain that they probably have policies in place that if you do complain about a post or something that did compromise your data or your business's data, they would take care of it immediately as well. The business platforms that are out there are not as predominantly scammed as the social media platforms that the general public use. The reason why is because they want to get to you as a person first before they attack your business. They want to get to your heartstrings. They want to get to what affects you personally. They're not just going to come after your business without getting to you first and getting the information they need in order to properly rebrand your whole business, spoof your entire business, and take that.
We also had one other question come up while you were doing that. Are saved passwords for my social accounts safe on Google?
If you have two-factor authentication, you do not have to worry about it. They can't get in to get your passwords. They would have to have that double authentication. So they would either have to have your phone or whatever other means you set it up by. So your passwords are safe. And I'm using Google as an example just because it's such a large platform and so many people utilize it. If you are keeping them in a password vault on your computer, I would be concerned because computers are never safe anymore. That's why businesses like yours, Blake, wants people to start keeping their things in the cloud so much, is because computers are compromised every day. And if your information gets compromised on the computer, your entire world, when you're a business owner, is compromised, and you could stand to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's very important not to keep those things directly on your local computer. So password vaults that are programs basically that say that they lock your information, that's great. But if you get a keylogger on your computer, they're going to see everything you type in. So Google actually has a safeguard. You have two-factor authentication on there anyway. So you would get a notification if someone was trying to authorize through your account.
Wonderful, Karen. I really appreciate that. And just to reiterate with everybody, how much does two-factor authentication cost to put on your account?
Nothing. It's free.
That is the wonderful thing about it. Karen, let me also ask you, would you be willing to work with Hagler Systems to create the social media policies for people and we can build up a draft, or do you already have something for the general business?
I usually, I haven't been asked to actually draft them because most businesses that have like an outside HR company that kind of does those policies and things for them, they usually have that policy available as an added benefit to your employee handbook. So a lot of companies will utilize like Paychex. And Paychex has, an HR department solely there to help your business create an employee handbook. They usually have supplemental handbook documentation regarding policies such as this. So I haven't actually been asked to generate one, but we certainly could. It wouldn't take a whole lot. It's just putting into place some policies and some procedures regarding your specific company on how social media is handled. So it would be a matter of getting with that business owner, finding out what their needs are, and putting together a document that's going to cover them in all of those areas that it needs to be. And it's going to depend on how much their business uses social media. It might just be an email policy. If they don't utilize Facebook or any other social media for heavy advertising, it could just possibly be that they need an email policy. Or if they do utilize Facebook, how does that look as far as a company is concerned and employees accessing that information and utilizing it?
Karen, most people that join our page, they know at the end of any webinar, I always give away information, free material. So if you're willing to work with us on creating that policy for some of these smaller companies, even some of the medium-sized companies that don't currently have those policies or have them in place, I would love to do that with you. And as a bonus for everybody being on this webinar, we'll give that out. Hagler Systems will work with Karen, and we will upfront any billing that's required, and everybody on this webinar will get that free for you guys. Also, I want to announce, since we're talking about free things, in November, December, and January, I think it's just going to be November, depending on the response, Hagler Systems is going to give away a $3,200 value of a dark web scan. So if you don't know what a dark web scan is, it's scanning the dark web for your information, your email, your company's domain information, anything that may have been sold or provided to be sold over the dark web for malicious activity. And since we brought up two-factor authentication, it's free. Definitely go and do it. That is when your information's out there on the dark web, two-factor can help 100% keep you safe from that information when it's being sold. Now, it doesn't get rid of that information, but what it does is it does allow that if somebody obtains that information, they still can't access anything unless they do it from your computer, having that two-factor. Karen, is there anything else that that you can add to the call today?
Well, I think it's just really important to reiterate how safe we need to actually be on the internet these days. Regardless of whether you have gone and done a search on yourself or not, your information is there. It's there. People are going to know your address, your phone number. It's out there. If you do want to remove your personal address, phone number, you can go to every site to do that. And you can remove your information off of the internet. It's places like mylife.com. It's places like that. But as Blake had stated, if your information gets on the dark web, that's something that not a lot of people have access to. You have to have a special browser to access it. And even then, it's very dangerous to go on the dark web, and you should have the necessary things in place, and you should be a technical expert when you are entering the dark web. Nobody should be going on there. It's a place for criminals, and that's what they utilize it for. But fortunately, we have companies like Blake's, Hagler Systems, to be able to take care of that for us. So I would take advantage of the dark web scan. It is not something that's offered free very often. I know that Experian did also offer a free scan for a while there. I don't know if they're still doing it, but it is a huge benefit, and it can be quite expensive if you do need to hire to have it done. So that scan will provide you with the information to find out if your social security number is out there, because if your security number your social is on the dark web, you're going to have to get a PIN from the federal government for your taxes, because people will go and file taxes under your social security number and get a check. That happened to me about 5 years ago, and I found it very interesting. So I have made sure since that my information is pretty locked down.
Yeah, personal information on the web is well, let me rephrase that. Personal information on the dark web is not a good thing. That is definitely where the transactions of criminals are happening.
It is. And you know what? I really could have used that refund, and I've been having to pay in for 10 years already. So I was like, how does this happen? And even when I talked to the IRS agent at that time, I said, how does that happen? I've been having to pay in for the last 10 years, and you guys just give somebody money, and here now I'm calling to give you another $5,000, and you just gave out money to this. I'm like, where's my check? So it is important. And you definitely don't want your social compromised. I have never had any activity on my credit report or anything like that. So I've been very lucky. I've never had my bank account compromised, but then I have the technical experience to be able to protect myself a little bit better than the general public does. So, and that's why we do these types of forums. is so that the general public has the same knowledge that you and I do, Blake, so that they can protect themselves and learn how to do that.
Yes. And for us, we spend hours every day, and we're constantly learning. Karen, I'm sure you're the same way. So when we jump on these calls, that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to minimize that time for everybody else so they're aware, knowledgeable, and they learn from it. Karen, thank you very much for coming on the call today. We haven't had any other questions lately, so I'm gonna say this is concluding our call, unless you have anything else, Karen.
I'm good. Just if anybody has a question, if you even question that something might be fraudulent, don't click on it. Contact a professional and get the answers that you need so that you don't compromise yourself, your business, or your family.
Thank you. I did not do this at first. I'm going to put Karen's website in the chat for anyone that would like to go to her website and look at her services more in detail. I also put the ic3.gov in the chat for anyone that may have experienced anything already. They can go to that website and report it.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Karen. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Bye, everyone.